says that we were powerless over our addiction and that our lives have become unmanageable, right? And I think about it. I have so many different first steps in my active addiction before I got clean. And I have so many first steps in recovery as well. You know, I can have a first step today, like where my life becomes unmanageable because I don't want to do my job, you know, to the ability that I should be doing it. And then what happens is that I don't continue, like I can't find a way to get back into it, and my life becomes unmanageable, right? I become powerless over my addiction. And Jeff kind of like touched on it. Like my addiction is not just like drugs. Like I have obsession and compulsion. You know, I suffer from a disease that shows itself in all these different ways that isolate me and give me self-centeredness. And I obsess and compulse over things. And without using drugs, I still can create big problems in my fucking life. And so I have all these different first steps. And like in my active addiction, I remember my clean date is 11/24/2009. And around Thanksgiving on 2008, I remember like I don't remember this part, but I overdosed while I was driving. And I flipped my truck like 8 times on the highway. And all I remember is waking up in an ambulance and them telling me I didn't think you were gonna make it, you know. And there were a bunch of people there, and I had like a court case afterwards. And this guy came up to me and he was like, "Yeah, you were pronounced dead at the scene," and all this stuff, right? And I remember sitting in the hospital, and I'm like in and out, and my dad came to like pick me up. And I remember like that long, quiet drive home and saying, "I'm never gonna use again. Like I can't do this shit anymore. I am never gonna use again." And I get home, and 30 minutes later, I'm getting high in a fucking closet. That's the first step. You know, I'm powerless over my addiction, and my life became unmanageable. And I just continued using. You know, and then I went in and out of jail. I continued to go into these, you know, outpatient things, and it was the judge's fault. It was my parents' fault. It was everybody else's fault. And I remember I was in this outpatient program, and they were making me go to all these different meetings and get my sheet signed. And I like failed like my 70th drug test. And I'm not saying that to like blow it out of, like I could not stay clean. Like I could not stay clean. I pissed dirty all the time and continued to go to jail. And I'm sitting in there, and they're like, you know, I pissed dirty, and it's a group, and it was Dr. Bill, ironically. And I remember he looked at me and he said, "Well, why did you use?" And I was coming to Narcotics Anonymous meetings, so like I had heard some slick shit, like I had heard some slick things in here. And he said, "Why did you use?" And I said, "Well, I used because I wanted to." And then I fucked up, right? And I continued. I said, "I used because I wanted to, and I can stop anytime I want." And he looked at me and he said, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, now's the time. Like, this is the time. You're about to go to prison for 8 years. This is the time that you stop using. And I remember going home that night and saying, "I'm not going to use." And I got high in a fucking closet. Like, I don't know. And it's not like I lived in a closet, like not a metaphorical closet, like an actual closet. And I was going to do things with my life. I was going to go places. I was going to travel the world. I was like I wanted to be somebody and have something. And then like I used drugs because like I had this pain, and I found this magic formula, and drugs took it away. Like the first time I used drugs, it took away the pain. And I was somewhere else, and I didn't have to fucking feel it. And then I came down, and those feelings were there. So I had to get high again, right? And then I started getting high and more and coming down faster and faster. And then at the end of the road, man, the pain was not gone when I was high. It was with me. And then I created more problems while I was high. And I remember like I stopped leaving the state. I stopped leaving the city. I stopped leaving the neighborhood. I remember calling my drug dealer and standing at the edge of the street like it was the edge of the world. At the end of the road, I lived in a fucking closet. And I came to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting straight out of jail. My mom drove me there, right? My mom drove me to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting and said, we're fucking done. You can never come back. And she took me to a meeting. I walked in. There was a bunch of people like you. They were sharing about their feelings. They had some shit going on. And I remember saying, these motherfuckers don't know how to live life. Like, I remember like these suckers, like, I need to use the right combinations of drugs and I'm going to be okay. And I need the judge to leave me alone and fuck my mom and fuck the other people. Like, I just need to figure this out. And there was this place where you guys, and my disease wants to disqualify me. You know, I remember going to meetings and hearing, and I would hear people like share about crack, right? They would be talking about crack. That's all I heard. Now they shared a message, but my disease just heard crack cocaine over and over and over again. And I was like, man, Narcotics Anonymous is not for me. And then I would go to meetings and people would be talking about pills, like the little old, like our basic text talks about it, like the little old lady doctor shopping, you know, to the junkie snatching purses. And I would sit in meetings and they'd be talking about prescription pills and these different things. And I'd be like, man, Narcotics Anonymous is for people with prescription pill issues. So I would hear crack. And I would go, man, like, this is not for me. I did not smoke crack on a regular basis. Like that's my disease. It wants me to kill myself. You know, so I had all of these first steps, man. So I make it to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, and I'll never forget, like, I had like 30 days clean and I'm trying to disqualify myself over and over again. And I'm in a driveway, like a gravel driveway. And I was in pain. Like, I was in pain, like so much pain. And I got on my knees and I was like, God, I know you're not real, but I fucking need your help. Like, I can't stop using drugs. And I'm praying in this driveway to something that I do not believe in. And I went back inside, and this is stupid, but I went back inside and I watched the Jersey Shore. Like, I watched like the Jersey Shore for like 3 hours. It was fucking stupid. And I did not get high. And the next day I went to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. Like, I think about that, right? Like, I prayed and prayed to something that's not real. And I ended up exactly where I needed to be. So I've had a bunch of these first steps, and I'm start going to meetings. And I remember there's this meeting on Friday nights called Agape. And I was the only white person in the room. Now, I probably wasn't, but like, that was my disease, is I got clean in a different area. I got clean in Virginia. I got clean in Tidewater, the Tidewater area of Narcotics Anonymous. And I moved here during the pandemic, and I got clean in a different area. And the beautiful thing about Narcotics Anonymous is that we have a diverse group of people, because drugs do not affect just white people or black people or brown people or yellow people. They affect everybody, right? And I'm sitting in a Narcotics Anonymous meeting feeling alone and isolated. And that meeting on Friday nights had like 50 to 80 people every Friday night. And I was like, I don't know how anyone is going to teach me how to stay clean, or how anyone is going to be able to teach me how to be a man. And I'm disqualifying and not listening. And I remember I was angry. Like, there are newcomers that come in and they are fucking ready to go. And I love you guys. And I was a newcomer that was like, I don't like that. And I don't like that. And if I raised my hand and shared some stupid shit and you shared after me, I would talk to you after the meeting and be like, fuck you. I don't like you. I wanted you to tell me to leave. You know, my disease wanted to leave. And I'm sitting in this meeting and I got my eyes closed and this guy was at a celebration. There were like 100 people that night for a celebration. And my eyes are closed because, you know, I'm just fucked up and stupid and I'm not going to pay attention to you. I got my eyes closed and this guy shares my story, shares my entire fucking story. I open my eyes and he looks nothing like me. He didn't come from the same place. He doesn't look anything like me. My friend Julius K. And we have a lifelong friendship, man. And Narcotics Anonymous brought me in, you know? And that was like a moment of like, maybe I could fucking get clean too. And so I had this newcomer friend and he's starting to get better. And I like sex, drugs, rock and roll and fucked up things. And I'm a newcomer and I want to have sex with other newcomers. And that's what we did. And we hung out outside of the meeting and we did addict things. We did active addiction things without using drugs. And then there's the old timers sitting over there drinking their black coffee, looking boring as shit. And I didn't want to be over there. And Sean started hanging out with the people that look boring. And I cannot figure out why I want to get high because I have all this drama and chaos in my life. And this person still hates me and that person doesn't like, and I can't figure it out. And Sean looks happy. And I'm like, why the fuck is Sean so happy? You know, and I'm talking to him. He's like, yeah, I'm working steps and, you know, I do my assignments for Who's an Addict. And we're just over here dying, man. And you guys say it over and over in meetings, but my disease doesn't want to hear it. You know, a lot of meetings, like people raise their hand and say, get with these people. Everybody with a year more clean, everybody with a working, whatever, all those different things that are said. And so I've had my first step. I'm powerless over my addiction and my life had become unmanageable. And then my second step was, well, maybe these people are not fucking insane, right? We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. I'm watching Sean get sane. And so I'm at this meeting. There's a guy named Pat K. Pat K passed away clean back in like, I think 2010 or 11. And I liked Pat, man. I liked Pat a lot. He would, you know, I went up to him and I asked him to sponsor me. I asked him to temporarily sponsor me because I didn't want like a real commitment. Like I wanted to, like, will you sponsor me until, you know, I don't want to get chained down here. And he said, yeah, I'll fucking sponsor you. And I asked Pat because he was angry and he was mean and he talked about how he didn't like his wife and he shared about like wanting to fight people in gas stations. And I was like, I get this guy. I know this guy. I like this guy and this guy's staying clean. And what Pat K showed me how to do was stay clean no matter what. Pat was a beautiful man with tons of love, and he brought me into his family, and it was hard with him passing away. And he showed me how to stay clean no matter what. And I needed him. I needed somebody like I related to him. And believe it or not, he was not incredibly angry and mean and shit all the time. He was always fucking working on it, but he was human. And I could relate to it, and I gravitated towards it. And what I realized after time was that he was better than he used to be. He was better than he used to be. And looking back on it, that's a beautiful thing, man. Because we come in here as fucked up people, man. And let me not like talk about it. I was fucked up. Maybe you might be. And so my second sponsor, I would raise my hand. There was a guy named Joe W. in Portsmouth, Virginia, and I would raise my hand and I would talk about sex and drugs, and he would raise his hand and fucking clean that shit up. I mean, very friendly attack share, just very friendly. I thought it was attack sharing, and he was trying to carry the message. He was trying to carry the message. I did not see that at the time, and I did not fucking like Joe. So what I did is I went outside the meeting and I talked about how Joe's not actually happy. That guy cannot be that happy. He's a fucked up dude, and I spread shit about him. And I talked tons of shit about Joe, and then I would go into the meeting, and I know Joe knew because he told me, but I know Joe knew. And you know what he would do is he would come up to me and he would smile and he would fucking hug me and he would tell me that he loved me. And he would tell me to keep coming back. Nobody told me to keep coming back in active addiction. You know, what brought me here was that nobody wanted to take me back, man. And he would tell me to keep coming back. And so when Pat was passing, I asked Joe because I didn't know how to do that. I asked Pat because I didn't know how to stay clean. I asked Joe because I didn't fucking know how to do that. And Joe taught me how to do that. Joe taught me how to give unconditional love. I love that dude, man. He taught me how to do that. I called him on the way here. Joe gave me a beautiful gift. And then like my third sponsor, he had a helicopter. So I asked him because I want to be fucking rich. I was like, this guy's gonna. Joe showed me how to unconditionally love and carry myself with dignity and respect. And Ron H was gonna teach me how to be rich as fuck. That's what I thought. And he did not teach me how to be rich as fuck. And but what Ron did teach me is he taught me how to be a productive member of society. When I came to Narcotics Anonymous, I could not get a job bagging groceries. I'm talking about with like 4 years clean. They would not hire me at a grocery store to bag groceries. And now my life is beyond my wildest dreams. Like Jeff, I sit in this room and I do not, like I have a high school education and I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? And it's beautiful. Like Ron taught me how to be a productive member of society. And then I have Neil. Neil has taught me about the 10th and 11th and 12th step. He talked about meditation all the time. I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And, you know, he talked about making amends, like right off the bat. He always shared about was 10th and 11th step over and over and over again. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. And Neil taught me how to do that. How to promptly admit that I was wrong. You know, I'm a huge proponent for meditation. I have a trend in my recovery that anything that is beneficial for me, like, and I recognize it now and it's not as bad, but anything that is beneficial to me was fucking stupid and I did not want to do it. Please keep it away from me. Meditation, I will never meditate. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I meditate every fucking morning. I love it. You know, it's a beautiful thing. It helps me slow down and not say a bunch of fucked up things to other people. It allows me to slow down. Like I have this thing where I'm constantly asking, you know, a power greater than myself, just let me slow down. Let me not say the first thing that pops into my head. Right? So talking about becoming a man, like these people taught me how to be a man. And you know, I've made a lot of mistakes in recovery, and this is a men's rap, so we talk about it a little bit. I don't know if anybody else has issues with relationships. Am I? Yeah, I only had issues with relationships and active addiction. You know, that was my thing. It was only an active addiction and recovery. Everything's been perfect. No, I'm in the middle of a fucking divorce, and like, and I think back on it, right? And so I was in this relationship with somebody in early recovery. I had like a year clean, and they had like, you know, like not like like 30 days. And, you know, we fell in love, and we went for like a 4-year relationship, but we fell in love, and, you know, we were going to have a wedding, and the colors were going to be like basic text blue, you know. We get into arguments, and it's like, you know, as long as the ties that bind us together, it ended awful. It ended awful. And from there, like I learned a lot of things from that relationship, right? And in the moment, man, I felt like I was just being incredibly fucked over. Like there's some things, like there's a car stolen and all that kind of shit, and I was just like left. Active addiction is a motherfucker. And she went out, and it was insane and crazy, and I was hurt, and I felt like I couldn't breathe, and I wasn't going to be able to live, and I would come to meetings and I would say I'm fucking dying and I don't want to be here, and like I couldn't take care of my apartment, and just vindictive shit all the time, and like one day I came home with my sponsor, and he was like, don't go in there, like don't go in there. I was like, what? And he was like, I don't know, there's a shit on your floor, there's a shit in your bathroom on the floor. And it was insane. Like it was this insane thing. And we talked about it like 3 or 4 years later, because she came back in and she was like, I totally did that. And I was very sorry. But at the time I called her and I was like, what is this? She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And you know, and that shit was killing me. Like all of that was just, that was not supposed to be a pun. The shit was killing me. No, it was, I was dying inside, man. And because I'm an addict, right? And it talks about in our basic text that we are, as addicts, we are hypersensitive. It doesn't say we're sensitive. It doesn't say our feelings get hurt. We can get sad sometimes. It says we're hypersensitive. And to me, that means that I catch on fire. Like I catch on fire, and I have to go to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, which is the fire department, and say, fucking put me out. Will somebody put me out? Because I'm on fire. And, you know, and I remember I was driving my car. I'm not like proud of this, but like I get to the point, I don't have drugs to cover up my feelings, and I wanted to die. And I remember I was driving my car and everything had come to a head, and I was like, I don't want to live anymore. You know, I don't want to fucking do this. And I don't mean like I was just saying that. I mean like I was fucking there. And I remember saying, God, I know you're real, because shit happened in those 4 years. In the beginning, it was, I know you're not real. Now it's, I know you're real. So stop whatever the fuck you're doing. I don't know who you're helping, what you're doing. It doesn't matter if they're, you know, is there a church on fire? I don't care. I need you to come down, and I need you to help me. Will you save me? Because you're real. And the sky did not part. No ray of light came down from the clouds. You know, nobody spoke to me. My car went to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. I went to a meeting, and I raised my hand, and I raised my hand, and I raised my hand. And one time I was in a meeting, and I said, I cannot fucking do it. And I'm leaving here, and I don't want to ever come back. And I got home to my apartment, and there were people standing on the sidewalk, and they walked me into my house. And I don't know how healthy this is, but I used to say over and over again, I am not going to use today. I will use tomorrow. And I would wake up and I will say, I will use tomorrow. Just for today, I am not going to get high. I will use tomorrow. And I made it. I made it through that, through the love of this fellowship. And then I met a wonderful recovering addict, and we got married, and the wedding had basic text blue. And, No, we had 3 beautiful children. I have 2 children that have autism. I have a 6-year-old, and then I have twins that are 5. My 2 boys, my 5 and 6-year-old, they have autism, and life got tough. Life got real tough, and I'm uncomfortable here, right? Because my wife is in my ex-wife is in the fellowship, and so I'm not gonna take this meeting to do some kind of like, hey, let me, I know, I'm not gonna share all the personal stuff with it, but I will share the feelings, some of the feelings. And, I'll share some of it. I'll share some of it, to a healthy degree. No, what happened is that in this pandemic, we moved here, and when we got here, things were tough during the pandemic. You know, everything was shut down for a while. Even when I got here to Georgia, none of the meetings were open, and it took a little while. And the kids were tough, and things got really rough for her. And then she started going to meetings, and I kept doing Zoom and taking care of the kids while she went to meetings. And one day, things were rough, and she came home, and she said, "There's somebody else," and things got really rough, and she left, and I kept the kids, and I didn't know how to do it, man. I didn't know how to do it alone. And she'd come in and out, and I got her an apartment down the road. Wouldn't see her, and I'm gonna share this for anybody that's going through this kind of stuff, man. I'm gonna share it. It's not a trash to the other person. I just remember like sitting there and taking care of my children and putting them to bed and like laying on the landing and being like, I cannot fucking do this. And my daughter looking at me and saying, "Where's mommy?" And me like looking her in the eyes and having to lie to say, "You know what? She wants to be here. Do you remember when daddy had to work a lot? Mommy's working." You know, and I had to look at my daughter and say that. And then I had to get up and have patience and grace and understanding for my children and do my job and be a good recovering addict and not fuck everything up, you know, with this divorce and just say whatever the fuck that I want to say. Because Narcotics Anonymous taught me that I do not have to say the first thing that pops into my head. And this fellowship showed up, man. They showed up again. They showed up again, man. And things are getting better. Like every time I want to quit and I say, this is too hard. You know, that's the thing. I remember calling my sponsor and saying, like, just crying, man. I got these, my twins got kicked out of daycare and I can't keep them afloat, and I need to go to a meeting, and my life is out of control, and I got this house where no one else does laundry, no one else cooks, no one else takes care of them, no one else does my 50-hour job, nobody, and it's just me. And I'm sitting there and I'm talking to him and I'm like, why does everybody else get to quit? I'm a fucking quitter. Because in my active addiction, I always quit. I always ran. I always said, fuck it. And I struggle with that today, where I just say, you know, I'm a quitter. And I was crying. I was like, I'm a quitter, man. Why don't I get to fucking quit? And he said, I said, I'm a quitter who just hasn't fucking quit yet. He said, you know what that is? That's not a fucking quitter. And I felt like all I know, and Joe taught me this, and I've heard it for years, that the feeling to use will pass whether or not I use. The feeling to hit somebody will pass whether or not I do it. The feeling to say fuck it will pass whether or not I say fuck it. And I have to sit in my feelings. And I have to rely on the fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous. And the other thing that like I would just continually say over and over my head, like I have to go to these Narcotics Anonymous meetings, right? And this happened in Narcotics Anonymous with this divorce. And I'm sitting in the meeting and I'm in the room with this other person. And I'm saying over and over again in my head, I don't know about you guys, but I want to fucking say something. Like, I really want to say something. I want to really like, just be like, I'm right. And I want to let you know how much, you know, and I just want to get on a soapbox. And I'm sitting there in my feelings and I just keep saying over and over again, you have a choice. You can either pay now or you can pay later. I can either sit in these feelings now and pay for them now and go through it with dignity and respect and like thank them for their topic. Thank you for that topic. That was a great topic. Like shit like that. I could do that now. Or I could feel better right now. And because I will feel better if I yell at someone and lash out. I do. I feel a lot better when I lash out and I get all those feelings out on somebody else, just up and out on them. I feel better. You know what? I feel a lot worse later and I pay more. And usually if I'm not paying now and I'm paying later, there's late fees, you know, interest, the collections agencies after me, you know. So Narcotics Anonymous has taught me that we pay now, you know, and it's not always easy. And when I can't do it, I pick up the phone. Look, I'm not going to share much longer. I want to tell anybody that's new that you are in the right place, man. You know, when I came to Narcotics Anonymous, I did not want to stop using. I did not want to stop using. And this place has saved my life. And I have a life beyond my wildest dreams. And sometimes it fucking hurts. Sometimes it's painful. I don't have drugs to put on top of it anymore. But I promise you that the things that I've gained in recovery are far, far outweigh what I had in active addiction. And, you know, if you want to stop using, you are in the right place. And if you don't want to stop using, you still might be in the right place. I used to hear all the time, like, if you don't pick it up, it won't get in you. Right? And I was like, yeah, fucking no. I know it's really a big deal for a lot of people where they're like, that just blew my mind. For me, I was like, I know that. And then somebody said, you never have to use again, even if you want to. So my name's Justin. Thanks for letting me share.
To our workshop speakers, let's give them another round of applause. Oh, well, we still have a little bit of time. If we can open the floor for some shares, about 10 minutes worth. If anybody wants to jump on in. You want to kill it? Anybody?
First, hey, fam, my name is Will. I'm here for Recovered Addict. First, I want to thank all of you. Don't use no matter what. You never know what that was going to be, but it's going to come. When it comes, you don't use it. I truly, I have 19 years, 11 months. I've been on for 20 years. When I first came to this program, it took me a while to catch on because I did not know how to read. The drugs had burned my brain so terribly bad that they were helping me read who's an addict, but I kept coming. You know, and life is good in spite of all the things that I've been through. I know that my disease is out to kill me. You know, I went to penitentiary between 5 years, 1 month, 2 weeks. And each one of them, I was at 5 different prisons, and each one of them was a dope trap. But with my God and my understanding, it takes me through it all. And I carry the messages in prison, the messages of hope. You know, even they'll say, Mr. Knox, shut the fuck up. They didn't want to hear it, but I didn't stop carrying the messages. You know? Coming into Narcotics Anonymous, you know, I used for 42 years, and I was injected with a lot of misinformed information. So this new way of life was just born, and I had to choose to accept this new way of life. You know, and it's good, you know, because I had to learn how to live all over again. I didn't even know how to write a check when I came into Narcotics Anonymous. You know, I didn't know how to go nowhere. I didn't know how to, because I got high all my life. So what kept me coming back is throwing balloons up, you know, being of service. And I've been of service since I've been around, even before I got clean, because I wanted so bad. I celebrated a year I didn't have. I would pick up phony, false key tags, you know, and I would ask God, why I can't get it? Why I can't get it? You know, everybody else is staying clean. Why I can't stay clean? But I kept coming, you know. And I had to go to another treatment probably about the 5th time, and I finally heard something that put chills all the way through my body, June 10th, 2002. And I haven't found it necessary to use since then. And I keep coming because life is good. You know, life is so good, you know. And I'm still, and think about this process, it's not like I'm not gonna get it all in one day, 1 year. It ain't gonna happen that way. And no, I had to keep coming, keep going through the steps so I can get better and better and better. Newcomer, understand this. We keep coming and life will get better. And I desire to use or lead, you know, without your permission. Thank you, let me share.
My name is Jeff, I'm an addict. Again, I want to thank you to the speakers. What really resonated with me in that whole, in everything, was the no matter what. I got 6.5 years clean, and no matter what I've stood on no matter what all the way. At 3 years clean, I beat a life sentence for a crime I didn't commit. Had my family ripped apart, door kicked in, all of it. My dad is in-home hospice right now, slowly dying. My car took a shit on me on the way down here. My father-in-law is using an active addiction at my house right now as I sit here. He thinks I don't know because we're not there. Despite all that, I still do not have the desire to use. I've learned how to vocalize my feelings with fellow men in these rooms and in this fellowship. Because the type of drug addict I was, I ran to the females. Because fuck these dudes, what are they gonna do for me? They have dicks, they have vaginas. I wanna be with that. But you know, being in a relationship in recovery, it's very frowned upon to run to a female and talk about your marital status or whatever the fuck your problem is. It's frowned upon. It's disrespectful. I had to learn that. How to respect my partner in this journey. Trials and tribulations in my relationship. I almost got a divorce because I set a boundary for something that I had allowed for 8 years in my relationship, being talked to a certain way, and you know, the whole 9 yards. And I finally one day I was like, this is bullshit. I'm done. I'm tired of it. I don't want it no more. This is the boundary I'm setting. But I still didn't find a way. I didn't find a reason to use. And in my moment of uncertainty, I called a fellow addict in this room, expressed myself, and he said, no matter what, no matter fucking what. Call me when you get done with the meeting. We'll figure it out. If you need somewhere to go for the weekend, I got you. He opened his home to me in my time of need. For that, I'll be forever grateful. And I know it's only due because I chose to find a new way to live. Because what the fuck, I didn't know how to live in addiction. I'm just existing, using, destroying myself, ruining my life and other people's lives that I come in contact with. So like my man said earlier, I have to figure out how to live all over again with a brain that's been destroyed by drugs. I'm so grateful for this process, man. It's the power in these rooms that I've felt. I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel it when I walk into any one of these workshop rooms, speaker meetings, just out in the hallway, just the love, the just the camaraderie, the fellowship that is just flowing through this place and these conventions. It's absolutely wonderful. Thank you for letting me share. All right. Making special announcements provided by the programming staff. Announcements. As our 11th tradition states, our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, ration is supposed to say radio, and films. The primary purpose of our public relations effort is to tell the story of Narcotics Anonymous, and what our program offers to the still suffering addict. Members of the press are often attracted to our conventions and are welcome, and we welcome their interest. However, we do not disclose our last names in the media as identifiable members of Narcotics Anonymous. If members of the press approach you, please direct them to the member of the convention planning panel, board of directors, or public relations subcommittee. Smoking is only allowed in designated smoking areas. If you have any questions on where to find these areas, please see a member of the convention planning panel. These are the members that can be identified with a blue ribbon that says committee on their shirts. We have a raffle that's still going on as of right now. I believe that is still in the works. There's a banquet, I believe, tonight, and also other entertainment purposes going on as well. Again, thank you to our speakers. Wonderful. Love you both. Awesome. Let's circle up and close with the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Those joining us online are invited to unmute and join our prayer as well.
Yeah, look upstairs. This ain't gonna reach all the way around.
Brett. Is that good?
Inside and outside these rooms,
God, grant us serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep up the habit of the works that we work in.